Maurine Lara. Maurine Lara is a national award-winning poet and fiction writer. She's the author of the fictional works Erzuli's Skirt, Redbone Press, 2006. When the Sun Once Again Sang to the People, KRK Edisonias, 2011. And Watermarks and Tree Rings, Tanama Press. And the poetry manuscript Conjure Woman, Redbone Press, 2017, newly out. In 2015, she completed the first of her decade-long project, Cantos, including her original poetry with music composition by Martin, say his name, Perea? Perna. And original artwork by Yomna Chiala. She is an assistant professor at the University of Oregon, Eugene, Oregon. Welcome, Anna Marie.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me if I'm speaking here? No, you're just speaking closer, Mike.
You have to go close to it.
That's definitely better. How about now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
That's good.
Better?
Yeah.
Good afternoon. It's so lovely to be here. I want to first thank Joan for inviting me. I had been invited last year and at the last minute wasn't able to come, so I'm really happy that you were able to re-invite me for this year. And that I'm here tonight. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you. I'm going to read a few poems. The first poem is from an anthology that's coming out right now with Temple University Press. The title of the anthology is Who Will Speak for America? And I was invited to submit a poem to that anthology, and this was my response to the question of who will speak for America. America. Una mujer corpulent, robust, stretches her body from the silver sun of the Arctic to the blazing blue of Antarctica. Her head arches towards Siberia, her hips roll towards the bight of Benin. She lies awake at night. At daybreak, her heart is a rising peak in the yielding waves of the Caribbean. In her mouth, she holds the ebb and flow of bright waters. The rivers that are her blood rise from her lungs to pulse inside our flesh of fish and bird and otter. I do not speak for America. I cannot contain America. The sea-wet holds me against her back, the skin of me against her skin, a skin drawn taut against the wind of deserts. My breath rises with her aches and joys, my heart seeking hers. I swim in her navel full of star and shattered light. Her body, meadow and brittle bone, a carapace and wings, is magical. I do not speak for America. I cannot contain America. La Vieja's rage gives way to violent fits. Coughs draw her flesh up into mountains. They shake loose the soil from leaves of grass. The bluffs shudder and descend. The moon draws molten blood out onto the surface to stain the beds of lakes and to cool against the sea. The sun makes her thirsty. I do not speak for America. I cannot contain America. Machines tear at Bibi's underbelly. Her knobbed skin gives way like vellum. It peels back to reveal the tenderness of her. They rub her raw. She bleeds, sore and wanting of nothing but respite. She inhales. The wind lifts dust from her exposed flesh. Our bodies are covered in remnants. I do not speak for America. I cannot contain America. Quizá ouvle fin monde. What more do you want from this paradise, this heaven of iron, steel, and coal? Her bougainvillea cascade onto asphalt at sunset. Her mesquite withers at noon. Her sagebrush vanishes in a horizon of tawny wheat. Her cotton balls dampen with the dew. Her cane stalks bend in the wake of hurricanes. Her tubers split open and grow and grow and grow. I do not speak for America. I cannot contain America. Nor the vastness of her plains and pampas, nor the evidence of her broken flesh, nor the stretch of her waters and seas, nor the grumble of her midnight aches, nor the lushness of her forests and jungles, nor the way her waters churn, nor the beauty of her ice-covered limbs, nor her many, many names. I'm now going to read from my newly published collection that came out in August, Conjure Woman. So before I read, I want to just acknowledge we're on Kalapuya land, and I want to welcome all of your ancestors into this space to be here with us as we hear the world of the Conjure Woman. So the Conjure Woman herself, she speaks, this is how you, right, it's hard, it's Kohnjeher. She speaks, and her poems have to be spoken out loud to be able to be understood. I'm not going to read in her voice tonight. I invite all of you to look at her poems. What I am going to do, however, are read poems about the world in which she is living, in which she is inhabiting. She's a woman who was born in Africa, in Dahomey, and she was taken to Saint-Domingue. And in Saint-Domingue, she fostered a rebellion, and her tongue was cut out. And she was also shipped to Virginia, right, as an enslaved person. So that's the trajectory of the Conjure Woman. And the poems I'm reading take place on a Virginia plantation in the 18th century. Plantation. Samuel lays out the land. I have known old Nate a long time, since we were born, right here, right here. Yonder there is a big house, the quarters, the field, and the forest. There is an orchard, a meadow, the grove where we meet Sunday mornings, Saturday late at night. Behind the big house, there's the hog pen, the barn house, He's garden, and the field. The quarters are down behind the field at the edge of the forest. The field is green or gray or yellow or brown, depends on the season and how many of us lie fresh beneath the soil. Yes, I have known old Nate like I know this plantation. Old Nate knows me too. A good son, old Nate tells who he is. I was born on this plantation, will be here till the day I die, I suppose. I was born in the fields, was brought up to the big house with my daddy. When he passed, he pulled me aside and said, Nate, boy, we need a strong hand in them fields to make those heifers work. I ain't got no missus, you a good a son as any, your daddy was a fine hand, and what about you? He knows I wouldn't ever cross him, wouldn't let the tobacco rot in them rows. I'll be the good son, yeah, I'm his own. Meadow medicine. Samuel shares some secrets. At the praying ground, down around the hollow, what we call the old meadow, we gather coming out of the field, scorching skin on neck, burned lips, our stomachs hollow. There we turn a pot down so as not to let the sound go far. The oldest colored man always looks after the shoestring root. The women folk the tepid baths made of mullein leaves, teas made of chestnut bark, poke, collard roots, horehound, a lot of peach tree leaves. Prayer. Samuel listens to Rebecca. Rebecca says she is watching stars, learning the names of the constellations. She says the stars speak truth in the darkness before sunrise. She sits down by the river before the day is started. There's a rock there, you see. They say the rock is holy, that if you pray there long enough, the light between the trunks of trees reveals its song. The river pounds the drums. Passing. Samuel knows she. And she is the way I refer to the Conjure Woman in the text. So passing, Samuel knows she. Coming back from the field, the sun red as coal, burning in the big house furnace. I turned and saw she, sheckled ankles, wrists raw and swollen, remnants of a cloth dress flailing around cracked indigo skin. They say she is African. They say she conjured the death of Blancs and Saint-Domingue. They say they cut she tongue out. She searched my face in passing, caught my eyes with she eyes, dark as winter soil. Harvest. Old Nate gets ready for the day. Before sunup, the bell rang. Love me that sound of feet pound soil. Working some cherry brandy, ash cake, greens by the embers of the fire from the night before. Tobacco leaves are ready, tall as the day is short. Heat just right for picking. Winds coming down from the north. We're now, so that was mostly Samuel and Old Nate. We're now going into the book of Sarah. At dusk, Sarah and her mama dream. Dusk come, mama pray, hold my hand in hers, humming like flies round our heads. She pray us right into bed, hold my feet, my toes to her face, kiss each one in turn. She cry. I hear her cry just as she whispered to me, child, you ain't the first, the only one. You ain't the only one come through these thighs. Mama was sold to he right before I was born. She tell there was another left behind at the other farm. She say she used to dream back then, she say. She whisper to me in the dark, my toes to her lips. Don't fall for those dreams, little girl. Don't mistake your feet for wings, your heart for anything precious. Second time, Sarah go to he. Was afternoon when old Nate come up to me in the field, say, he want to see you now, Sarah. Want to see you right quick. Don't drag those legs like a useless wench. He call for you right now. The right now is when you get there. Mama watched him cross the rows. Wasn't nothing she could do but watch me walk up to the big house. Never told her what he tell me between his legs, between my legs. He tell me, you right, baby girl. You ready for picking. And he pick fruit sweet. He say sweet and soft as pudding. Now I know he'll never sell me. He'll never take me from mama. He's tobacco, Sarah's swollen belly. We out in the field, the sun beating down on me, my belly swole neath my dress, and the skin got nowhere to go but hot. Old Nate is cranky, got the whip whistling in the air. You ain't nothing but a field, Negro Sarah, now keep moving. He's plants is waiting to be healed. I can't help to feeling that this baby gonna come out smelling like tobacco, yellow as a rotten leaf. Mama's tears. Sarah tells her mama that it will be all right. Mama, don't hold my feet no more. Don't cry whispers in the dark. She says she trying hard not to love right now, trying hard. I tell her, don't worry, Mama. That boy's got his father's eyes. What daddy gonna sell his eyes? She shut her own, turn ways from me, say she wanna die. Beating cotton clean, old Nate testifies. Pow, 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 that's how it sound. The clothes are taken out the water and put on the block and beat with a battling stick made like a paddle. Now the cotton sure get clean, each thread drip dry, homespun they call it. Everybody know when the wash day is, 'cause you hear the paddle for about 3 or 4 miles. Now to bring a slave to God, we tie their hands together, beat them first on one side, then the other. And sometime the slave faint. They just fall down like wet trousers. I, too, am a slave. We have to work hard. I tell the gospel truth. Many a time I sit down, made an 8-plate whip, get to rectifying. And even 3 or 4 miles away, they say you can hear them slaves singing while they spin. So now we also have Rebecca. Whispers, Rebecca mourns. This body, these tender swollen hands, the dirt brown blood under the nails, the sun-scarred flesh a witness to his crimes, descending onto old cotton, dirty wool, burlap dresses, fallen nests. Mama says there's more than one way to pray. Turn the pots, kick the earth, bring the moon up with a whisper. Cane stalks and sweet clovers. Rebecca and she find each other in the forest. I wandered down to where she stays, the shack at the edge of the quarters where Nate and Mary used to live before she came and they cleared out, made room for she, disappeared behind circumstance. I found she in the forest, hunched over a patch of fresh, brown-red dirt. She had she skirt hitched up past she knees. I could have sworn she saw me get up close to she, all turkey loud and rough. I stepped right up to she, asked with a suspicious tongue swollen in my mouth, "What are you doing set over a fresh patch of something that don't look right?" It was then that I saw the stick in she left hand, the seeds in she right, the buds of clover between she toes, green like dusk's horizon. She simply plucked a stem and put it in my mouth, let me suck on it until the sweetness came undone. And I found myself kneeling down to help she. She placed the seeds in my hand, closed my fist around them, whispered in short breaths. She sidled off into the deeper forest, left me standing on the edge, my fist closed around a pile of seeds, itching for soil. Someone wants to come through. All right.
Turn the phone off.
Thank you. Cane stalks and sweet clovers. Rebecca and she find each other in the forest. I wandered down to where she stays, the shack. Oh, I just read this. I'm so sorry. Riverstones, that's the next one. All right. Riverstones. Rebecca searches the indigo for her mama. Indigo mirror of mama. Long time she listened, eyes obsidian, cold. I turn, head cocked against memory, April rain. Mama? Listen, shaken head, shaken body, ain't no use, I say. She quiet, trickle. Mama, melting slow, melting snow. My hand deep into the water, burning cold, silver deep under the water, fingertips, rocks along the riverbed, rush of water, dead deep in slumber. Mama? Prayers jumping for air, she words singing, my lips parted for song. Just a few more. Midnight, Rebecca learns the truth. I have never known a man, not even he has touched this flesh. This body has not carried life, nor chattel, has not known touch of sweetness, nor current of stone broken loose from its moorings. I offer myself to she, my naked flesh warm in the dark's coolness, my breath dancing with she's whispers, her hands a salve made of this bitter root. Freedom, Rebecca whispers to Samuel. I have heard of others buying their own freedom. I have heard of folks being helped to run off. Sometimes they run away, sometimes they live in caves. There was a white man, his own chambermaid killed him. She used sumac berries, indigo, jimson weed, a quick death, a conjuring or two. River story. Samuel listens to the river. It was a wash day. The pounding of cloth against stone sang up to where I was sitting by the river, way around the bend downstream from Holy Rock. When I heard it, a resounding boom ringing through the air, the sound of game collapsing to the ground, a large buck struck. No sound save for that shot. The air still, my bones shook hard, the sun blazed orange. She strolled past me. She had blood on her toes, a torn skirt, a smile bent sideways, a knowing that loosed my heart. Break. Rebecca reads he death in the sunlight. He's dead just like water breaking through the sky. He died down by the river, he owned gunshot, he dead. She walked up slow and steady, she eyes searching the big house on the horizon. She walked over to the quarters, stood real still. Samuel came behind she, a smile on his face. Sarah ran by screaming, he dead, she shot, he dead by the river, he dead. And Samuel spoke slow. Somebody, go tie old Nate. He's gonna need a talking to.
Wow.